welcome back to Smoked, Pit to Stage, the DallasOpera.tv show that combines two great Texas traditions, the love of opera and barbecue. Today, to celebrate Hansel and Gretel, we're going to fast forward to the end of the barbecue, the best part, the desserts. And our special guest to help us go through those desserts is none other than the star of the show singing The Witch and the Mother, Patricia Rissette. And here she is now. Patricia, thank you so much.
Absolutely.
So, Patricia, we're here at the Winspear Opera House. We'll go ahead and head up to the 5th floor, and we'll get started making those desserts.
Fantastic. Looking forward.
Today's recipe is banana pudding. So the first thing we have to do is separate the eggs, and I don't mean this way. We have to separate the yolks and the whites.
Okay. Where do you want the yolks and where do you want the whites?
So we'll put the yolks in the saucepan and the whites in our mixing bowl.
Okay. I had mixed, uh-oh, see? So wait, this is whites, right?
This is whites.
Okay, I'm following you here. How am I doing?
You're doing great. What is the most alluring food to you? What would draw you into the witch's house off in the woods?
Something savory. I've got to say, I love Tex-Mex. I think Mexican cuisine in general is perhaps my favorite. I love it. I just think, I just love the flavors and everything. And living in Santa Fe, New Mexico, this white is not wanting to part from this yolk.
No, it is not wanting to part at all.
Hey, you kids. Okay, but there we go. And living in Santa Fe, New Mexico, it's New Mexican cuisine and the green and red chili and all that stuff, and I just love it. So I think if she had, some nice Tex-Mex chips, the super thin ones.
Yes.
A variety of salsas. Plaster a few enchiladas on that wall. I'm there.
All right. We'll go ahead and add our dry ingredients to the egg yolks. So the first thing we'll need is 2/3 a cup of flour.
My wife is the baker in our family and takes on these tasks. She often sifts the flour. Is it not necessary for this?
It's not necessary for this recipe. Different recipes require that the flour either be sifted or not. Because we're going to whisk it so much later, we can avoid the sifting, but definitely in a lot of cakes and pies, you definitely have to for that. So we'll start with 2/3 cup of flour. Well, I'll let you take 3 of those. So that'll be 3/4 cup of sugar and just getting them nice and level.
Can I have that knife, please?
Absolutely.
So I can, all right. 3 of them?
3.
All right. 3.
All right.
Done.
And then we'll set that aside and we'll add in our kosher salt, and we will do a teaspoon of kosher salt. You want to do the honors?
I insist.
Okay.
Yes, thanks.
Now, once we've got all of our dry ingredients added, we'll add 1 quart or 4 cups of half and half. So I will hand you our pitcher of half and half and let you add that in.
I don't need to be stirring or mixing.
You don't need to
all,
stir yet. You can just.
Is there a particular tempo you would like this?
Not at all.
Okay. Is there a height you'd like it? Jamie Oliver, the cook, the chef, he said from a height. From a height, just sprinkle, right? Yes. No.
So go from a height.
Well,
Let's see it.
I don't have a proper apron, so I'll skip it.
Okay.
I'll just do this. There we go.
Fantastic. And we'll get that set on our eye and we'll start whisking. Now that we have all our ingredients mixed, we'll continue to whisk over our burner about a medium-high temperature until it reaches about 172 or 180, but really you'll be able to tell. It'll be pudding consistency.
And the tempo for this, please?
The tempo, let's say a jaunty 72. So after a lot of stirring and a few minutes, we do have our pudding ready to go. But the last ingredient for the pudding is the vanilla. Now you can use good old-fashioned vanilla extract or vanilla flavoring. I'm a little partial to powdered vanilla. It works on a 1-to-1 ratio with our vanilla extract. So we'll get in here with 1 teaspoon of our vanilla powder, and we'll give that a good stir. And Pat, if you don't mind, I'll give you the honors on that stir.
Ooh.
Well, yeah, we'll incorporate that into our pudding.
We definitely have pudding here.
We do.
Mmm.
If you'll spoon just a very little bit of the pudding, just a little bit with the spatula onto the bottom, just a little more, and that'll be perfect. And just give that a spread. That'll be it. That's just so our wafers have somewhere to stick.
I think we're going to need a little more.
Yeah, maybe just a little bit more. Just a little. So now that we've got that nice layer of pudding, plenty of pudding, we will go ahead and start adding a layer of vanilla wafers. We'll go all across the bottom of our 9x13 baking dish.
Just comme ça.
Comme ça. Now, with any recipe, perhaps the most important part is the preparation. And of course, as a singer, preparation plays a huge role in what you do.
Huge.
So could you talk to us a little bit about what preparation looks like for you?
Yes, I can. Well, first of all, preparation, I call it unpaid employment. Because basically, before you arrive at any job, you have to have it learned, sung in, memorized. You have to have all those things in place. And it's time consuming, especially the kind of repertoire that I've sung for the past 33 years, leading lady parts. You're singing all night, so it takes time. Preparation, it's important to have, I found, really good time management skills. Because I literally, especially when I was super, super busy, I would put in my schedule when I was going to actually just like bang out the notes, learn it. When pitches and rhythms. When I was going to really work linguistically on it. When I was going to start putting it in my voice. When I was going to start. So I literally would plug that into my calendar with that in mind. And it's really essential that that's a very thorough process, because really, you must extract the best from this art form. The only way to do so is by almost getting it to a place where it's second nature. And that preparation is it's a lot of repetition. It's a lot of revisiting of things, but so that's sort of been my process throughout my profession. Yes, but now it's more like a marination, which is something you'd have for savory food.
Yes.
But it's more that you want the role, the language, the musicality, all of it to sort of marinate and be part of you in order to really have the chance to be up there and offer something, not just serve the piece, serve the composer, serve the librettist, serve the production, the direction, but also to offer your flavor of what that is. Yeah. And that's what it is to be an interpretive performing artist, and that's what's important.
Fantastic.
So.
We know most recipes have that famous, super special, secret ingredient. So when you're working on any role, but especially this role, what's the secret ingredient?
The secret ingredient for this role? Agility. I mean, physically, I'm running up and down stairs. It's also quite, how shall I put it? Quite a costume for the witch. And so it's going to be very interesting, and I am going to be, you won't see it in the audience, but I will have a harness on underneath that, very interesting, because I shall be flying myself. So I'm very excited about that. I'm a bit of a daredevil. So
on a much more even keel note than that agility, we'll go ahead and start adding our bananas to our pudding. Now, if you're making 2 or 3 of these for a really big party, you can cut your bananas ahead of time, toss them in lemon juice so they don't oxidize or turn brown. But my favorite way to do this is to go ahead and stand next to the people that you'll be cooking with or serving food with, friends, family members, and go ahead and do this together. And so we'll add our bananas, and we'll do a full layer of bananas. I've got a can for us for the peels.
So how thick do you want these slices?
So about 1/4 of an inch. Pat, I know that you are no stranger to North Texas and the Dallas area. So why don't you tell us a little bit about your past experiences?
You here,
You are. I'm moving slow.
Yes, I am an alumna of it was called North Texas State University in Denton when I went. What was that, 83 to 88, I believe I was there. And yes, I went there because I was very much interested in jazz. And there was a wonderful group that kept winning awards around the country called the NTSU Jazz Singers. And I was really interested in being part of that. And that was my intention. And I just happened into opera. The fact is they didn't have like the instrumental disciplines. They didn't have a jazz voice major, so I had to choose. Shall I crack into another banana?
Go ahead and crack into another one.
I had to choose a major. So at first I chose music education, and then changed over to, I don't actually remember why, changed over to vocal performance. But I was forced to take lessons in, the classical genre. And lo and behold, it just, while I still loved the, singing jazz and cabaret and everything, and I'm still quite active in doing that still now, I did, unbeknownst to me, have a natural ability operatically. It just sort of technically was very natural for me and happened. And so that's where it began, and I'm still trying to figure out what happened, but yeah.
On that, if you had to pick a favorite jazz standard.
That's a tough one. A favorite jazz standard. I mean, loved When Sunny Gets Blue. Do you know that?
I don't know that.
When Sunny gets blue, her eyes get gray and cloudy. It's a great tune, and so much can be done to it, and so much it's just really neat.
Yeah.
I would say that would probably be my favorite, but no, wait, see, I told you I couldn't choose one.
I understand.
Guess who I saw today? I remember when I was in high school, because I was interested in jazz, my principal had these friends, these retired guys, and so every weekend I would go over, here I am, 15, I would go over and we'd jam. And they taught me so much, and they particularly loved ballads sung by females. And so I remember one of them prepared, are you ready? A cassette tape. Do you know what those are?
I do.
Google it. But it prepared a cassette tape of Guess Who I Saw Today? Edie Gourmet. I'm trying to think who else was on that tape. I had 10 singers singing it. And it's one that I do on my cabaret show, Diva on Detour. It's part of a medley I do. On that, and there's a CD of that, but that is also one of my favorite because it's so theatrical and it's so incredible, and it's really maybe that's even more my favorite.
Okay.
I retract.
Well, I'll take both answers. Well, we've got our layer of bananas, so now it's time for more pudding. This time we'll actually put half of the remaining pudding into the dish, and so I'll let you take the spatula back. And you will notice it does start to set a little on the top. That is okay.
Here, let's travel.
Yeah.
It's a little easier. Tell me when it's enough.
Oh, keep going till you've got half of that out of there.
Let me see.
Yeah. A good thick layer. There you go.
See how bossy I am?
You gotta be.
My mother said I've always been this way.
So, now that we've got our pudding layer, we'll repeat our banana and wafer layer, or wafer and banana layers, and then we'll do a final layer of pudding before we put our meringue on. Well, when you're not on the opera stage or the cabaret stage, where might we find you?
Oh, well, I do love to cook, and I particularly like to cook in my kitchen because we built our home and created just the space to function exactly the way in which we wanted to. So it's it's a beautiful, wonderful place to cook. So you find me there, I also, because we did build our home, I'm also a big DIYer, you know.
Okay.
Yep. And so, you know, taking care of the variety of things that need to be cared for. And owning a home, and we have some acreage, so it's, you know. But it's a pride. It's a pride and ownership that I really enjoy. And my dad was amazing at doing this sort of stuff. He was incredible. He was just, you know. And so I think perhaps not my skill set, but my desire to do these things are from him.
We will finish this off by putting our last layer of pudding.
All right.
And then we will put our meringue over the top, and we'll bake it at 350 just till the meringue is nice and golden. But don't worry, Pat, we'll keep you away from the oven. I know that there may be a few things to worry about with ovens for someone singing The Witch.
Yeah. It's dangerous work.
It is dangerous work.
Right.
So I'll let you finish us off with the pudding.
All right, let's do it like this, like this.
I'll follow you. You just pull me where you need to go.
All right.
All right, that looks great. We'll take this off to the second floor kitchen to give it a bake now with our meringue on the top. So, it is time for our game segment of this show. And when we think about the witch and Hansel and Gretel, we of course think of her gingerbread house. And knowing that you are a consummate DIYer of your own home,
oh no,
we couldn't resist the opportunity to do our very own gingerbread house building build-off. And so, Pat and I are going to build off. And we're going to have 5 minutes to get as close to the image that's on your screen now as possible in the next 5 minutes.
All right.
So, Pat, if you'll give us the on your mark, get set, go.
On your mark, get set, go.
Time.
And I believe we have a winner.
I think we have a winner too, with a whole standing house.
I didn't get the chimney here though.
Oh, Pat, don't chance it. We have constructed and destructed over here, and so if you want to see an even more majestic gingerbread house, you can check out the witch's house in Hansel and Gretel. Now that Pat has whisked off to another set of rehearsals, we're lucky to have Crystal Gaston from G Texas Catering, our in-house caterer at the Winspear Opera House, joining us. Of course, we're back here in the 5th floor Dallas Opera office kitchen, and today we'll be making the special beverage that will be sold along with that banana pudding for Hansel and Gretel.
First, you want to start generally with your juice liquids. So
Okay.
we're going to start with 4 cups of apple juice.
So I'll pass these
There we
over.
go.
These are 2 cups apiece. I'll join you on this side.
There we go. And then
There
we're
we go,
going
and
to
I'll
start.
pass
There
that
we
your
go.
way.
And then we'll add in our 6 ounces of orange juice.
Orange juice.
Thank you. And 6 ounces of lemonade.
And here is that lemonade.
So from this point on, Jordan, we're going to take this and we're going to start to put this on a low heat, like a low simmer. And then we will start adding our aromatics. We'll drop in a couple of sticks of cinnamon.
Fantastic.
Teaspoon and a half of cloves. And some ginger. I usually do about an inch slice, maybe 2. We like to start to bring that up to like a warmer temperature, but you don't want to get it to a boil.
Okay.
That goes for maybe about 20 minutes.
Okay.
Then we want to add a very strong tea. So in the tea, I usually take about, 4 or 5 tea bags, get some boiling water, steep some tea in about 2 or 3 cups of water and to your liking. So we're going to go ahead and add that.
Fantastic.
And then we'll let that kind of bring up to temperature as well. And then here we'll start to add some water.
All right.
So this is, I would recommend maybe adding like a cup or 2 at a time to taste for intensity.
Okay.
So give that a stir, see how it tastes. It's also, this is when you would want to test it for sugar. Does it need to be a little bit sweet? Does it? I know the recipe calls for a cup of sugar, but it kind of depends on what kind of juice you use, that sort of thing, or if you like it more like on a tart, sour side than you would sweet. So we're going to go ahead and add a little bit more into there.
All right.
Give that a stir. Now we don't want to bring this to a boil. Just let it simmer.
So it's been a little bit, and the whole office smells so spicy and warm and welcoming. And I know our lobby will too for Hansel and Gretel. So let's try this.
Absolutely.
So
I'm very excited.
yeah, I'll go ahead.
So, yeah, if you want to pour me that one, and I know you want to make this an adult beverage, we recommend, you could add a little bit of spiced rum or dark rum. One of the ones I really like to use is the Cutwater Valley High Dark Rum.
Cheers.
Cheers. That reminds me of my childhood.
Since Pat had to fly away to rehearsal, I shared the banana pudding with some friends at the Dallas Opera later that day. Dessert, just like opera, is a great way to bring people of all ages together to celebrate, share laughter, and spend time with one another. Till next time, I'm Jordan Hammons, and this is Smoked from the DallasOpera.tv.